Keanu Reeves, known for his humility, generosity, and talent, won the hearts of the public with iconic films such as Matrix and John Wick. However, behind the scenes, Keanu's life has always been marked by challenges and losses. And in one of the most delicate moments of his life, the actor had to deal with a new battle: cardiomyopathy, a serious heart condition that affects the heart's ability to pump blood. Next, we will delve into this inspiring journey, going through the most remarkable moments of Keanu's life and how he faced this disease without losing his passion for cinema and life. Have you heard the story of Keanu Reeves? That incredible actor from Matrix and John Wick? Well, his life was not easy at all, and today I'm going to tell you everything. If you think he always lived surrounded by fame and glamour, you're very wrong. Before becoming one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, Keanu faced huge challenges that could have knocked anyone down. But he never gave up. It all started on September 2, 1964, when Keanu Charles Reeves was born. But do you know where? In Beirut, Lebanon. Yes, a country far from Hollywood. But he didn't stay there for long. His father, a Hawaiian geologist, abandoned the family when he was just 3 years old. After that, his mother, a British costume designer, had to find a way to raise him and his sister, Kim. Their lives were full of changes. They lived in several places such as Australia, New York, and finally, Toronto, Canada. Sounds cool, right? But in reality, it was very difficult for little Keanu. He could never bond with people because he was always changing schools. This made him an introspective child, often lonely. And it doesn't stop there. Keanu faced many difficulties in learning. He had dyslexia, a disorder that made it difficult to read and write. This caused him to be expelled from several schools. But even though he wasn't the best student in the class, he always had a fighting spirit. He loved sports and for a while, thought about becoming a professional hockey player. But life, as always, had other plans for him. Now tell me, have you ever imagined that one of the biggest movie stars had such a difficult childhood? Well, that's just the beginning of the story. Hang in there, because there's still a lot more to tell about Keanu Reeves' incredible journey. Subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories of overcoming and success. If you like learning about the lives of celebrities, comment and share with anyone who needs a dose of motivation. The discovery of love for cinema. Now imagine a boy full of energy who had already been to several schools, faced difficulties in his studies, and even dreamed of being a hockey star. That was the young Keanu Reeves. He loved ice skating and was known for his speed in the sport. So much so that he earned the nickname The Walt because no one could get past him in games. But then something unexpected happened. During a game, Keanu suffered a serious knee injury. And that's when his dream of becoming a great hockey player simply fell apart. He could no longer play at the same level as before. What now? What would he do with his life? That's when fate gave him a little push. Keanu had loved acting since he was little, but he had never thought of it as a career. When his mother worked as a costume designer on films and commercials, he saw the behind the scenes of film production up close. That magic fascinated him. Over time, he began to get involved in theater at school. Even though he had difficulty reading because of dyslexia, Keanu was able to memorize lines just by listening to the scripts over and over again. This made him develop an incredible talent for acting. His natural way of acting attracted attention, and it wasn't long before he got his first acting job in commercials and small plays. At the age of 15, he fell in love with acting for real. That was when he took part in a play called Romeo and Juliet. Keanu played a supporting role, but he brought so much emotion to the scene that even the teachers were impressed. And then came the big decision: continue with traditional studies or throw himself headfirst into an artistic career. Well, if you know his story, you already know the answer, right? He dropped out of school and went after his dream. At the age of 17, he packed up his things and moved to Los Angeles. Yes, he bravely went to try his luck in Hollywood. But as you can imagine, life there wouldn't be easy at all. Now tell me, have you ever thought about giving up on something and found a new path? That's exactly what Keanu did. But hold on tight, because the difficulties were just beginning. Hollywood and unexpected success. Now imagine this. A young man of just 17 years old with no money, no contacts, and a somewhat broken English due to dyslexia, arriving alone in Hollywood. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But that's exactly what Keanu Reeves did. He moved to Los Angeles with nothing more than a big dream and the desire to prove that he could be a real actor. To survive, he took any job that came his way. He worked odd jobs as a production assistant, waitress, and even cleaning film sets. All this while auditioning for commercials and small TV appearances. It was then that, after much persistence, he got his first TV role. It was a soda commercial. This may seem like a small thing, but for Keanu it was a big step. From then on, he began appearing in series, low-budget films, and even Canadian productions. But you know that moment that changes everything in a person's life? It came to Keanu in 1989, when he landed the role of Ted Logan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It was a silly comedy about two clumsy teenagers traveling through time. But no one expected the film to be a huge success. Suddenly, Keanu went from being an unknown actor to one of the most popular faces in young cinema at the time. He was recognized on the streets, gave interviews, went on promotional tours. But unlike many young actors, Keanu never really liked the spotlight. He was shy, reserved, and didn't feel comfortable with fame. The problem is that Hollywood loves to put labels on people. And after the success of Bill and Ted, many directors started to see Keanu as just the funny guy from teen movies. But he wanted much more than that. He wanted serious roles, challenging stories, films that really meant something. That's when he made a risky decision, to turn down silly roles and seek bigger challenges. He wanted to be taken seriously as an actor and proved it by accepting different films, such as Little Buddha and Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by the legendary Francis Ford Coppola. But the real boom in his career was yet to come. And when it arrived, it changed everything. Now tell me, have you ever had to turn down something comfortable to pursue something bigger? That's what Keanu did. And believe me, his decision would soon bear fruit. And what fruit? The big breakthrough with Matrix. Now imagine the following. After years of struggling, turning down easy roles, and seeking something truly significant, Keanu Reeves finally begins to be recognized as a serious actor. He had already made important films such as Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992, and Speed, 1994, where he shone alongside Sandra Bullock. But he was still missing that role that would change his life forever. And then, in 1997, the opportunity for a revolutionary project arose. A mysterious script called Matrix was circulating among Hollywood studios. It was an ambitious idea, mixing action, science fiction, and philosophy. Many famous actors turned down the role because they thought the story was too complicated. But Keanu? Oh, he fell in love with the project right away. He saw that The Matrix was not just any action movie, but a story about freedom, destiny, and the power of choice. But accepting this role was not easy at all. To play Neo, he had to undergo months of intense training in martial arts and acrobatics. He trained up to 8 hours a day learning moves, maneuvers, and even the iconic scene of dodging bullets in slow motion. And the detail? In the middle of the training, Keanu discovered that he had a serious spinal injury, which could even leave him without movement in his feet. Even with intense pain, he refused to give up. He underwent treatment and continued training, proving that he was ready to give his all in the role. And when the movie premiered in 1999, a true worldwide phenomenon, The Matrix was an absurd success, grossing millions of dollars and becoming one of the most important movies of all time. Overnight, Keanu Reeves became a movie icon. But do you know what made Keanu even more admired? What he did with the money he earned. Instead of spending it all on luxury, he donated a good part of his salary to the special effects and costume design team, because he believed they were the ones truly responsible for the film's success. That's right. While many Hollywood stars only think about themselves, Keanu once again showed his huge heart. Now tell me, have you ever faced challenges to achieve something great? Keanu risked everything to play Neo, and this choice made him one of the biggest stars in cinema. But as always, life still had many surprises in store for him. Some good and some devastating. Personal tragedies and deep grief. Now just imagine. After the huge success of The Matrix, Keanu Reeves finally had everything many dream of. Fame, money, recognition. But was that enough to make him happy? The answer, unfortunately, is no. Because while his career was at its peak, his personal life was falling apart. In 1998, Keanu met Jennifer Syme, a young assistant director and actress. It was love at first sight. They fell deeply in love, and Jennifer soon became pregnant. Keanu was overjoyed. He couldn't wait to be a father. He already imagined a new, different life, full of meaning. But then the unimaginable happened. In the 8th month of pregnancy, Jennifer became ill. The doctors tried everything, but when the baby was born, it was too late. Keanu and Jennifer's daughter, who would be named Ava Archer Reeves, was stillborn. The pain was unbearable. Keanu, who had always had a life marked by losses and challenges, felt as if the world had collapsed around him. He and Jennifer tried to lean on each other, but the pain was so great that the relationship couldn't survive. A few months later they separated, but the tragedy didn't stop there. In 2001, just 2 years after his daughter's death, Jennifer was involved in a fatal car accident in Los Angeles. This time, Keanu couldn't hold back his tears. The man who had faced a difficult childhood, dyslexia, rejection in Hollywood, and even a spinal injury, was now emotionally destroyed. He entered a deep period of mourning. He disappeared from Hollywood parties, avoided interviews, and began to become even more reserved. He was often seen walking alone in the streets, sitting on park benches, just staring into space. His friends say that Keanu never fully recovered from these losses. He never had children again and for many years did not have a serious relationship. The pain of losing his daughter and the woman he loved left a lasting mark on him. And that's why when we see Keanu Reeves helping strangers, donating money to charity, or just being kind to anyone, we know that this is not marketing. This is him. A man who knows what pain is and who chose to spread love instead of hate. Now tell me, how would you deal with such a huge loss? Keanu went through one of the worst pains anyone can feel, and yet he kept going. But fate still had more challenges in store for him. Now tell me something. Have you ever heard of a Hollywood star who makes millions but chooses to live simply? Who prefers to take the subway instead of driving a luxury car? Who donates a good part of his salary to help other people? Well, that's Keanu Reeves. After facing so many losses and challenges, he could have closed himself off from the world. He could have become a bitter, angry person. But he did exactly the opposite. He chose to help those in need. And it wasn't just once either. He has a huge history of generosity, and the most incredible thing is that he never did it to show off. In fact, many of his good deeds were only discovered because people started talking about them. Want an example? During the filming of Matrix, Keanu was so impressed with the work of the special effects team that he decided to donate 70% of his salary so that they would receive a better salary. While other stars fight for millions more in their contracts, Keanu was sharing what he had with the people who worked behind the scenes. And it doesn't stop there. He also donated millions of dollars to hospitals and cancer research, but without ever putting his name on it. That's right. He created a foundation to help cancer patients, but he never made it public. Do you know why? Because he didn't want publicity, he just wanted to help. And there's more. You've probably seen photos of him on the subway, right? That's right. While many celebrities are surrounded by security guards and expensive cars, Keanu prefers to take public transportation like any other normal person. He was once filmed giving up his seat to a woman on the subway as if it were the most natural thing in the world, and for him it was. Another incredible story happened at an airport, when Keanu's flight had a problem and had to make an emergency landing. What did he do? He rented a van to help the passengers get to their destination. And he even told funny stories on the way to distract everyone. Keanu Reeves could live surrounded by luxury in absurd mansions full of extravagances, but he chose to be simple. He chose to help. He chose to be an incredible human being, in a world where many people only think about themselves. Now tell me, if you had millions, would you do the same as Keanu? Because he does it without expecting anything in return. And believe me, life still had more challenges for him to face. The triumphant return with John Wick. Now imagine this. After years of being one of the most famous faces in Hollywood, facing personal tragedies and becoming a true hero off-screen, Keanu Reeves began to see his career slow down. The 2000s were not easy for him in the movies. After the resounding success of Matrix, the following films did not have the same impact. Some productions were well received, such as Constantine 2005, but others ended up failing at the box office. Little by little, Keanu was forgotten by the big studios. Many actors, when they reach this phase, simply give up or accept any role to stay in the media. But Keanu? He never cared about fame or money. He preferred to distance himself a little, live his life anonymously, and continue choosing projects that really interested him. Then in 2014, when Keanu was already in his 50s, a new opportunity arose. A script for an action film called John Wick came to him. The story? A former assassin who returns to active duty after criminals kill his dog, a gift left by his deceased wife. Seems simple, right? But this film had something special. In addition to incredible action scenes, the story had real emotion, and Keanu felt that this role was for him. But there's one detail. The film didn't have a huge budget. The studios weren't betting that much on it. But Keanu believed so much in the idea that he accepted a much lower salary than normal just to be part of the project. And guess what happened when John Wick premiered? Boom. The film was an incredible success. The realistic action scenes, the way Keanu brought emotion to the character, and the entire mythology of the assassin world made John Wick one of the best action films of the decade. And suddenly Keanu was back on top. The man that Hollywood had almost forgotten was now the face of a new successful franchise. He not only starred in the film but also helped train the stuntmen, choreograph the fights, and even handle weapons like a professional. Also that the scenes would be as realistic as possible. The most incredible thing? He did 90% of the action scenes alone without using stuntmen. Even at over 50 years old, he trained hard, learned fighting techniques, and performed some of the most impressive scenes in action cinema. And the result? The audience loved it. It was so successful that even more incredible sequels were released. John Wick 2, 2017, John Wick 3, Parabellum, 2019, and John Wick 4, 2023. Each one better than the last. Now tell me, have you ever gone through a time when everyone disbelieved in you but you turned things around? That's exactly what Keanu did. And not only did he get back to the top, but he did it his way. The cardiomyopathy diagnosis. Now imagine this. Keanu Reeves is at the height of his triumphant comeback. After years away from big box office hits, he became the face of one of the most beloved action franchises in cinema with John Wick. He's back in the spotlight, his career is stronger than ever, and fans just can't get enough of him. But then, fate decides to test Keanu once again. During the filming of John Wick 3, 2019, Keanu started to feel something strange. His body wasn't responding as it used to. He was extremely tired, without energy, as if he were carrying an invisible weight. At first he thought it was just exhaustion due to the intense physical training he did for the films. But then the symptoms started to get worse. Keanu felt short of breath more often, something unusual for someone who had always trained hard. He also started to have episodes of dizziness as if his head was too light. That's when he decided to see a doctor. After several tests, the news came that no one expected. Keanu Reeves was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, a serious heart condition that weakens the heart muscle, hindering its ability to pump blood. He, who had gone through so many difficulties in life, now had to face a serious health problem. For an action movie actor who needs to be constantly on the move, training and filming intense physical scenes, this news could mean the end of his career. But you already know Keanu, right? He's not the type to give up easily. After the diagnosis, doctors recommended that he slow down, avoid very intense activities, and pay attention to his symptoms. But slowing down was not in his plans. Keanu Reeves decided to continue filming John Wick 3 and all future projects even with his heart condition. But he also learned to take better care of himself. He started following a strict routine of healthy eating, adequate rest, and constant medical monitoring. And do you know what's most impressive? Even with cardiomyopathy, Keanu continued to do most of the action scenes alone. While many young actors use stunt doubles for everything, he insisted on doing 90% of the scenes without a stand-in. Now tell me, have you ever faced a moment when your own body tried to stop you but you kept going? Keanu has proven that even when faced with a health challenge, he doesn't give up. But he also knows that he needs to take care of what matters most: his own life. Now just imagine, you receive a serious diagnosis, something that can completely change your life. What would your reaction be? Stop everything and give up on your dreams? Or adapt and keep fighting? Keanu Reeves, as always, chose the second option. After being diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, he knew he needed to change his lifestyle if he wanted to continue doing what he loved. But that didn't mean he was going to stop. He just learned to adapt in order to move forward. The doctors were clear. He could no longer push his heart beyond its limits. So Keanu adopted a new, carefully planned routine focused on his health. He started to eat a balanced diet, prioritizing foods that help heart health. Avoid unnecessary stress, practicing meditation and relaxation techniques. Do moderate exercise, adapting his physical training to protect his heart. Undergo regular checkups to monitor any signs of worsening of the condition. But one thing Keanu didn't give up was his passion for action movies. He knew he might not be able to do everything like he used to, but that didn't mean he was going to stop. He found clever ways to keep going. When filming for John Wick 4 began, Keanu knew he would need to make some adjustments. This time, the directors and stunt coordinators adapted the fight choreography to keep him from overexerting himself. Instead of doing long action sequences without stopping, they started to break up the shoot into smaller blocks, allowing Keanu more time to rest between scenes. And even so, he continued to do most of his own fight scenes and chases. He trained every day but respected his body's limits. After all, Keanu knew that his biggest challenge now wasn't just facing villains on screen. It was facing his illness in real life. The new reality made Keanu reflect even more on life. He has always been a humble guy, but now he has started to value the little things even more. Spending more time in nature, reading and studying about spirituality, spending quiet moments with his closest friends, practicing the philosophy of living in the present. Keanu Reeves did not let his illness define who he is. He simply adapted and learned to live in a new way. Now tell me, have you ever had to change something in your life to keep moving forward? Keanu did it with courage without losing the essence of who he has always been. And believe me, this story is not over yet. Now just imagine, you are used to being a real machine in action movies. Your body responds quickly, you can handle intense training and do impossible scenes without fear. But suddenly your heart can no longer keep up with your rhythm. That is exactly what happened to Keanu Reeves. Even after being diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, he refused to give up on what he loved. But of course he needed to adapt in order to keep working. And that's exactly what he did. When filming for John Wick 4 began, Keanu was already dealing with the effects of his heart condition. The fight scenes, which had previously seemed natural to him, now required much more energy. He felt fatigued more easily and sometimes even shortness of breath. But do you think this made him give up? No way. To compensate for the physical challenges, the production had to make some adjustments. Shorter scenes. Instead of filming long fights without stopping, they shot in short bursts so that Keanu could rest between takes. More controlled training. Before, he trained 8 hours a day for the films. Now his training was divided into stages with more breaks for recovery. Using stunt doubles for specific scenes. Keanu has always been known for doing 90% of his own stunts, but now he has had to give up some of the most exhausting ones, especially those that require a lot of jumping or heavy impacts on the body. Even so, most of the fight sequences were still done by him. And if you've seen John Wick 4, you know he delivered a spectacle. The most impressive thing is that, despite the difficulties, he never complained on set. If anyone asked how he was, he would just smile and say, "I'm fine, let's go." The crew knew he was dealing with something difficult, but Keanu made a point of not treating himself like a victim. Quite the opposite. He encouraged everyone, helped the stuntmen rehearse, and even motivated the crew members on the most tiring days. And at the end of filming, the directors and crew were amazed at his dedication. Many couldn't believe he was dealing with such a serious heart problem because he never showed weakness. What did Keanu Reeves show us with this? That challenges may arise, but how we react to them is what defines us. He could have given up on action movies and chosen an easier path, but he loves what he does. He knew he needed to take care of himself, but he also knew that his passion for cinema was greater than any obstacle. Now tell me, have you ever had to keep going even when your body or mind told you to stop? Keanu faced it all with courage, and the result? Another epic action movie. Now imagine this. You are used to seeing your favorite actor always strong, performing incredible action scenes, exuding energy and delivering unforgettable performances. But suddenly you find out that he is facing a serious illness. That's what happened to Keanu Reeves fans. When information about his cardiomyopathy diagnosis began to circulate, the public was shocked. After all, Keanu has always been known for being a true warrior on and off the screen. But instead of sadness, something incredible happened. A wave of love, support and affection took over the internet. As soon as fans learned of Keanu's condition, they began to show support in every way possible. Messages on social media. Thousands of messages began to appear on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, with words of encouragement and strength. Letters and gifts. Many fans sent letters and small gifts to show how much they cared about him. Video tributes. People from all over the world began recording videos thanking Keanu for his journey and saying that they were rooting for his recovery. And believe me, Keanu, who has always been discreet, was deeply touched by all of this. He has never been the type to like to draw attention, but this time he could not hide his emotion when he realized that millions of people were rooting for him. The truth is that Keanu Reeves has always had a different relationship with his fans. He is not the kind of inaccessible celebrity who lives surrounded by security and avoids contact with the public. Quite the opposite. He has always made a point of being humble and treating everyone with respect. If a fan asks for a photo, he takes it. Someone wants to talk, he stops and listens. If he sees someone in need of help, he helps. He has often been caught having long, heartfelt conversations with strangers, simply because he believes that everyone deserves to be treated with kindness. And this generosity has returned to him in the form of love. For someone who has gone through so many losses and challenges in life, receiving this support made all the difference. In interviews, when asked about his relationship with his fans, Keanu said, "The affection I receive from people gives me the strength to carry on." And he wasn't just talking about his film career but about his life. The support he received from the public helped keep him going, even in the most difficult moments. Keanu Reeves is not only loved for his films, he is loved for the person he is. He has never had to pretend to be someone else to please Hollywood. He has never had to get involved in scandals or draw attention with extravagances. He is simply himself, and that is enough for millions of people around the world to consider him a true real-life hero. Now tell me, have you ever had someone who supported you in difficult times? Keanu found this support in the affection of his fans, and this just proves that words have immense power. Involvement in health causes. Now tell me something. When you face a difficult challenge in life, do you choose to ignore it or use that experience to help others? Keanu Reeves chose the second option. After dealing with cardiomyopathy, he realized that many people around the world face serious health problems without support. And as always, he didn't sit idly by. The fight against cancer. A personal story. Even before dealing with his own heart problem, Keanu was already a big supporter of cancer research. And do you know why? Because he lived it in his own home. In the 90s, his sister Kim Reeves was diagnosed with leukemia, a type of cancer that affects the blood. For years, Keanu saw her suffering up close, the intense treatments, the side effects, and the daily battle against the disease. But instead of just watching, he joined the fight right along with her. He paused his career for long periods to take care of his sister, paid for all her treatments, and stayed by her side until she recovered. But he knew that there were many other people who didn't have the same resources. And that's when he decided to do something even bigger. While many celebrities create philanthropic organizations to gain recognition, Keanu did something different. He created an anonymous foundation to help hospitals and cancer patients, without putting his name on it. That's right. For years, this foundation donated millions of dollars to medical research and helped countless families pay for their treatments. And no one knew it was his. The information only came to light years later, when Keanu casually mentioned it in an interview. "I have a private foundation that's been running for about 5 or 6 years, and it helps children's hospitals and cancer research. I just didn't want to put my name on it. I just let it do what it has to do." That says a lot about him, doesn't it? While many people do charity work to gain visibility, Keanu does it simply because he wants to help. After being diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, Keanu became even more interested in health-related causes. He realized that many people don't get regular checkups, don't know the signs of heart disease, and end up discovering the problems too late. So he started using his influence to spread information about the importance of taking care of your heart, the symptoms of silent heart disease, the need to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And it didn't stop there. He started donating even more money to hospitals specializing in heart problems, helping people who can't afford treatment. Keanu Reeves doesn't just care about his own health. He wants everyone to have access to a better life. He has faced huge losses, illnesses, and challenges, but he has never used them as an excuse to give up or close himself off from the world. On the contrary, he has turned his pain into fuel to help other people. Now tell me, if you could help someone today, what would you do? Keanu shows that you don't have to be a millionaire to make a difference. Sometimes a small gesture can change someone's life. Now stop and think, what makes a person truly unforgettable? Being rich? Famous? Or is it something much bigger than that? Keanu Reeves is not just a successful actor. He is an example of resilience, humility, and generosity. He has gone through devastating losses, faced illnesses, was discredited by Hollywood, and even so he never gave up. But more than that, he has always chosen the path of good. If we look at his career alone, we can already say that Keanu Reeves has become a cinema legend. He made history with The Matrix and revolutionized science fiction cinema. He brought back brutal and stylized action with John Wick. He showed his versatility in dramas, romances, and independent films. But his legacy goes far beyond the screen. While many stars live surrounded by luxury, Keanu Reeves chose to be simple and generous. He gave up millions to help others, donated fortunes anonymously, and made the world a better place without needing applause. He taught that being famous does not mean being arrogant. True success is maintaining your essence. Kindness and humility are worth more than any amount of money. Keanu could have chosen to be just another Hollywood star, but he chose to be an incredible human being. Now, after facing so many challenges, Keanu Reeves continues his journey, acting, helping, and inspiring millions of people. He has shown us that we can overcome any obstacle. Life can be hard, but we should never lose our kindness. No matter how many times we fall, what matters is getting up and moving forward. And that is why Keanu Reeves is not just a movie star. He is a real-life hero. Now tell me, what did you learn from this story? Because Keanu teaches us that, in the end, what really matters is not what we have, but what we leave for the world. Now it's up to you. Keanu Reeves' journey teaches us that no matter how big the obstacle, there is always a way to move forward. He faced tragedies, losses, and health challenges, but he never stopped fighting, helping others, and spreading kindness around the world. And now I ask you, what can you take from this story into your life? If this story inspired you, share this video with someone who needs a dose of motivation. Leave a comment about which part of the story touched you the most, and of course, don't forget to leave a like for more content like this. Together we can spread more stories of overcoming and hope. Subscribe for more amazing stories.